What is up, Xaliter here. The Gold-Lich set is comprised of a bunch of different equipment. One thing that they have in common is their focus on lightning. That is because they are all linked to Lightmender, an immortal lich who wants to purify the world with the power of lightning. Here, I'll go over the stats of the different equipment and how to get them. First, let's go over the stats of the various equipment, and then we can go over how to get them. The Gold-Lich set contains defensive, offensive, and utility equipment, so I'll separate them into these categories when talking about them. Let's start with the defensive equipment. Starting from the head to toe, we have the Gold-Lich mask, Gold-Lich armor, and Gold-Lich boots. The Gold-Lich mask is a great helmet with 14% physical resistance and 30% fire and lightning resistance, bringing the total resistance provided to 74%. This is much higher than the average total resistance of 17.5 mean or 13% median for helmets in general. Even for helmets that affect lightning resistance, the Gold-Lich mask stands out. It ties for the highest lightning resistance offered. The average lightning resistance for that category is about 7% mean and 12.5% median, and the average total resistance for that category is 33% mean and 37.5% median. Although fire is not the main stat that the Gold-Lich set focuses on, the Gold-Lich mask blows all other helmets away with its fire resistance, providing the highest amount of fire resistance in the game for helmets. Even though the Gold-Lich mask does not seem to be a heavy armor, it does not slack on physical defense either. It keeps up with the averages of 10% mean and 10% median for all helmets, 11% mean and 12% median for fire resistance helmets, and 11% and 10.5% median for lightning resistance helmets. The Gold-Lich mask also has a huge mana cost reduction of 25%. Overall, this mask is a top tier helmet. Honestly, this helmet is so top tier that I made this whole video mostly because this helmet exists. Most of the rest of the equipment are joining along just because they belong to the same set and have similar methods of acquirement. The Gold-Lich armor offers 9% physical resistance and 30% lightning resistance, bringing the total resistance to 39%. While this is higher than the average of 26% mean and 20% median for body armor in general, it is below the average of 52.5% mean and 55.5% median for armors that provide lightning resistance. When compared to this group, the Gold-Lich armor does tie for the highest lightning resistance offered. However, it falls behind in physical resistance when compared to the averages of 14% mean and 15% median for all armors and 19% mean and 20.5% median for lightning resistance armors. One thing that the Gold-Lich armor does have going for it is a massive 20% mana cost reduction. When compared to other armors that provide large mana cost reduction, which I defined as cost reductions of 15% or greater, the Gold-Lich armor regains its standing as an average tier armor. The average total resistance for that group is 39% mean and 34.5% median. Overall, the Gold-Lich armor is decent for mage builds, but for other builds it falls behind significantly in defensive power. The Gold-Lich boots offer 4% physical resistance, 10% fire resistance, and 30% lightning resistance, bringing the total resistance to 44%. This is much higher than the average of 18% mean and 14% median for boots in general. Even when compared to boots that offer lightning resistance, the Gold-Lich boots stand out. It ties with the highest lightning resistance offered. Even though fire is not the main focus of this set, the Gold-Lich boots holds its own when compared to boots that offer fire resistance, only being a few percentages below the average of 14% mean and 15% median for fire resistance. The Gold-Lich boots do fall behind in terms of physical resistance when compared to the averages of 10% mean and 10% median for all boots, 11% mean and 9.5% median for fire resistance boots, and 11% mean and 9.5% median for lightning resistance boots. The Gold-Lich boots also have a 15% mana cost reduction. When compared to other boots that offer at least 15% mana cost reduction, the Gold-Lich boots stand out for high resistances, with the average for that group being 26% mean and 19% median. Overall, the Gold-Lich boots are a great choice for mage builds, but their low physical resistance make them a more risky choice for other builds. For the offensive equipment, we have the Gold-Lich Claymore, Gold-Lich Knuckles, Gold-Lich Mace, Gold-Lich Shield, Gold-Lich Spear, and Gold-Lich Sword. Things that all these weapons have in common is that they do both physical and lightning damage, and they all inflict doom, which decreases enemy lightning damage and resistance. The Gold-Lich Claymore does 30.75 physical damage and 10.25 lightning damage for a total damage of 41. It has 39 impact damage. It costs 7.2 stamina to swing and has a relative speed of 1.0. Compared to other claymores, it is fairly average. The average total damage for other claymores is 41 mean and 39.5 median. The average impact damage is 38 mean and 39 median, and the average stamina cost is 7.1 mean and 7.2 median. Compared to other two-handed lightning weapons, the Gold-Lich Claymore is still average. For the lightning weapons, the average physical damage is 29 mean and 28 median, the average lightning damage is 11 mean and 10 median, and the average impact damage is 37 mean and 39 median. Overall, the Gold-Lich Claymore is fairly average. The only thing that sets it apart is that it inflicts Doomed. The Gold-Lich Knuckles do 20.8 physical damage and 11.2 lightning damage for a total damage of 32. It has 16 impact damage. It costs 2.6 stamina to punch and has a relative speed of 1.0. Compared to other Knuckles, it is fairly average. The average total damage for other Knuckles is 31 mean and 31 median. The average impact damage is 17.5 mean and 17.5 median, and the average stamina cost is 2.6 mean and 2.6 median. Compared to other two-handed lightning weapons, the Gold-Lich Knuckles are still relatively average. For the lightning weapons, the average physical damage is 29 mean and 28.5 median, the average lightning damage is 11 mean and 10 median, and the average impact damage is 37 mean and 39 median. Although it may seem like the Knuckles simply do less damage, they also have a faster attack speed, so it most likely evens out in the end. Overall, the Gold-Lich Knuckles are fairly average. The only thing that sets them apart is that they inflict Doomed. The Gold-Lich Mace does 28.5 physical damage and 9.5 lightning damage for a total damage of 38. It has 38 impact damage. It costs 5.2 stamina to swing and has a relative speed of 1.0. Compared to other maces, it is fairly average. The average total damage for other maces is 38 mean and 38 median. The average impact damage is 38 mean and 38 median, and the average stamina cost is 5.2 mean and 5.2 median. Compared to other one-handed lightning weapons, the Gold-Lich Mace is still average. For the lightning weapons, the average physical damage is 23 mean and 25 median, the average lightning damage is 13 mean and 9 median, and the average impact damage is 31 mean and 29 median. Overall, the Gold-Lich Mace is fairly average. The only thing that sets it apart is that it inflicts Doomed. The Gold-Lich Shield has 18% impact resistance and does 17.5 physical damage and 17.5 lightning damage for a total damage of 35. It has 51 impact damage. Compared to other shields, it is slightly better than average. For shields in general, the average impact resistance is 16.5% mean and 17% median, and the total damage is 29 mean and 32 median. The average impact damage is 45 mean and 46 median. Overall, the Gold-Lich Shield is decent. The Gold-Lich Spear does 26 physical damage and 14 lightning damage, for a total damage of 40. It has 24 impact damage. It costs 5.2 stamina to stab and has a relative speed of 1.0. Compared to other spears, it is fairly average. The average total damage for other spears is 40 mean and 39 median. The average impact damage is 26 mean and 26 median, and the average stamina cost is 5.1 mean and 5.2 median. Compared to other two-handed lightning weapons, the Gold-Lich Spear is still average, although it trades a slight decrease in physical damage for a slight increase in lightning damage. For the lightning weapons, the average physical damage is 29 mean and 28.5 median. The average lightning damage is 11 mean and 10 median, and the average impact damage is 37 mean and 39 median. Overall, the Gold-Lich Spear is fairly average. The only thing that sets it apart is that it inflicts Doomed. The Gold-Lich Sword does 24.75 physical damage and 8.25 lightning damage for a total damage of 33. It has 23 impact damage. It costs 4.55 stamina to swing and has a relative speed of 1.0. Compared to other swords, it is fairly average. The average total damage for other swords is 31 mean and 31 median. The average impact damage is 23 mean and 23 median, and the average stamina cost is 4.5 mean and 4.55 median. Compared to other one-handed lightning weapons, the Gold-Lich Sword is still mostly average, but falls below average for impact damage. For the lightning weapons, the average physical damage is 23 mean and 25 median, the average lightning damage is 13 mean and 9 median, and the average impact damage is 31 mean and 29 median. Overall, the Gold-Lich Sword is fairly average. The only thing that sets it apart is that it inflicts Doomed. We have the Lightmender's Backpack and the Lightmender's Lexicon for the utility equipment. These equipment are great, but are pretty niche. I don't believe it makes sense to compare these two items to others in their categories, as backpacks each have their own benefits and are designed with different uses in mind, and the regular Lexicon doesn't offer any extra benefits. The Lightmender's Backpack offers 75 kilograms capacity and 10% lightning damage bonus. It impedes dodge rolling. The Lightmender's Lexicon offers 5% bonus lightning and ethereal damage and 5% mana cost reduction. That's all the equipment in the Gold-Lich set. The mask is top tier, while the armor and boots are good for mage builds. The utility equipment are great, but are pretty niche depending on your build. The weapons are pretty average but do have the doomed effect going for them. Now, you may be thinking, it's all well and good that we went over the stats for these items, especially the more boring offensive equipment, but how do I get them? Well, you're in the right place. Now, we'll go over how to get the equipment. I'll go from the easiest to the hardest equipment to get. First, we have the various offensive equipment. That is the Gold-Lich Claymore, Gold-Lich Knuckles, Gold-Lich Mace, Gold-Lich Shield, Gold-Lich Spear, and Gold-Lich Sword. All of these can be crafted. To craft these, you will need the iron weapon of the weapon type you want. For the shield, you will need the round shield. After that, you will need Gold-Lich mechanisms. You can get them from the yellow glowy enemies, which are the Lightmender's creations. For two-handed weapons, you will need 2 Gold-Lich mechanisms, and for one-handed weapons, you will need only 1 Gold-Lich mechanism. Lastly, you will need a Firefly powder. Next is a Lightmender's backpack. There is a bunch of stuff to do, a few places to go, and a little puzzle to solve in order to get it. And it can get a bit complicated, but here, I'll show you how to get the backpack. First, we want to go to the Spire of Light. We have to pull all the levers, except for the levers in the basement. I'll speed up the video so that it doesn't take too much time, but feel free to slow down the video if you need some guidance in the locations of the different levers. There are also a bunch of lightning enemies in the Spire of Light. I would recommend getting lightning resistance, and if you want to fight them, either decay or ethereal damage. Some of the times they hit me were a bit suspect, and I took more damage than I expected, but it should be fine. After pulling all the levers, we need to go to the ziggurat passage to put an idol on a pedestal. It's another puzzle in there where we have to pull more levers, so you can just continue following me. We could fall down here, but my health is already too low, so I'll just go the other safer way. After that, we need to go to the strange apparitions. The first is at the entrance of the Spire of Light. The rest are near tombstone-like structures. This next part isn't necessary, but I wanted to show you what the tombstones look like. Now we can go to the entrance of the Spire of Light. We see this white ghost-like thing. There are 4 more we need to find, and they are all kinda close to the Spire of Light. You can just follow me. Again, I'll speed up the video so it doesn't take too much time, but you can slow down the video if you want to follow a bit more closely. The last apparition will have the Lightmender's backpack for us. For the Lightmender's Lexicon, we have another little puzzle to solve, but this time it is only in one place, and that place is the Voltaic Hatchery in the Chersonese. The Lightmender's Lexicon is located behind a barrier, and we have to pull 3 levers to unlock the barrier. There are a bunch of lightning enemies located in this dungeon, so I would recommend wearing lightning resistance gear. If you want to fight the enemies, I would recommend Decay or Ethereal Damage. Like the Spire of Light and Ziggurat Passage, it can get a bit confusing in this dungeon, but you can follow me as I go through it. I will speed up the video so it doesn't take too much time, but you can slow down the video as needed if you want to follow more closely. The last things are the armor pieces. For these, we're going to have to fight a boss, the Lightmender itself. The Lightmender is a lightning powerhouse, dealing physical and lightning damage and being fully immune to lightning damage. However, it is weak to decay damage. To fight the Lightmender, I recommend getting high lightning resistance gear and decay weapons. I recommend getting the Arcane Hood, the Blue Sand or Entomber armor, and the Entomber boots. For the weapon, I recommend getting a horror weapon of your choice. I prefer the horror sword due to its high attack speed. After that, we want to make sure we have the Blessed and Possessed boon, an elemental resistance potion, and a dark varnish. In addition to this, we want health and stamina regeneration from food and water. After that, we can run in and fight the Lightmender. With all this preparation, we should be able to do a bunch of decay damage while having about 95 to 105% lightning resistance depending on the armor chosen. This will allow us to have an easier time against the Lightmender. While the Lightmender will not be able to touch us with its lightning damage, it can still hurt us with its physical damage, so care is still needed. After defeating the Lightmender, we get the Gold-Lich mask, Gold-Lich armor, Gold-Lich boots, and Gold-Lich spear. In my opinion, the most notable piece of equipment in the Gold-Lich set is the Gold-Lich mask, with the Lightmender's backpack and Lightmender's lexicon being great but more niche. The Gold-Lich armor and boots are good for mage builds, but their lack of physical defense make them risky for melee combat builds. The weapons are pretty mediocre, although the Doom status effect is pretty nice and can elevate their usefulness. I use some equipment from the Gold-Lich set in some of my builds. Click on the info card to see some of those builds. Otherwise, I'll see you later.